Hi, my name is Maria Baltazzi, and I'm going to begin with a story about my very first time to Africa. And it was the back end of the day, and the sun was hanging low, and about 100 yards away was a water hole filled with elephants that were trumpeting and spraying their babies with water while a long queue of zebra just um, waited patiently their turn to drink and play. And the moment really was magical. It was like a scene from The Lion King come to life. And this land truly transformed me. And as I recall that first time to Africa, yeah, the person that stepped foot on that continent and then left was 180 degrees different. Yeah, I arrived being terrified of anything that was going to sting, bite, or make me an afternoon snack. And the consideration of getting out of my vehicle in the bush was not even a consideration. Cut to 11 weeks later, when I was now jumping out of our Rover, I was there in Africa to do a series of wildlife stories for Paramount Studios. And I was working as a producer for a show called Wild Things. And at some point, I needed to get out of our vehicle to do my job. And when I finally found the nerve, it changed me forever. And since then, I have made many trips back to Africa, including today, when I now take guests on private transformational trips that I curate and guide. And in the past year, as members of the TTC, we have asked many times, what will travel be like as countries begin to open up their skies to international travelers? How and where will our guests want to be going? And more importantly, how will they want to experience their trip? Now, what will we want out of our travel experiences? And what all these questions are pointing to is an overarching one, which is how can we all be more conscious travelers in today's world? And by conscious travel, this means to travel with a mindful intention to be present and engaged in your journey so that your experience brings a kind of meaningful happiness that transforms you long after you have posted your photos on Instagram. Now, today we are talking about stepping into a new era of travel, where travelers are looking to explore the world more mindfully, consciously, as thoughtful stewards of our world versus being travelers of before, extractive or exploitive of a destination. And this mindful way of travel will lead to more enriching travel experiences. And we all know that any journey can be seen in three parts. That is anticipating the journey, living the journey itself, and the afterglow of the journey. And I am going to walk us all through all three parts and encapsulate the mindset of what we can offer to our guests, and also as a reminder for how we can be traveling through the world. So, part one is anticipating your journey. And this is far more than the travel packing list that um, we have. It is as you are getting ready to embark on your journey, it's asking four questions which will become the compass points of your travel experience. Your true north is about your state of being. And in one word, ask, how do I want to be on my trip? You can consider words like present, open, curious, happy. Your directional east will be what will be my guiding statement for this trip, meaning, how do you want to act on your journey? Is it being in the moment? Is it noticing what is all around you, in front, behind, to the side, above, below? Or is it simply saying yes to every adventurous opportunity that presents itself? Then your directional west will be, who will you travel with or want to meet? Do you want to go on safari with your father to celebrate a milestone life event? And perhaps on that trip, you want to go to a village in Kenya to spend an afternoon with the Maasai. And finally, your directional south will be to ask, what do I want to have, to feel after this trip that I do not have or feel right now? And this is your travel outcome, your transformation. And for me, when I answer this question, it is often to have the confidence boost and satisfaction of doing something I didn't think I could do, like climbing Kilimanjaro when I had never climbed a mountain in my life, or walking marathons on all 7 continents. When I started doing marathons, I barely did anything. So these 4 compass points of inquiry are key to setting your experiential course for your sojourn. So then the next part of your journey becomes living the journey. And now, having arrived at your destination with your 4 experiential compass points set, look to consciously do things that will create or inspire the next act in the show about your life. Become the travel producer, director, and writer of your transformative journey. And to inspire you, to remind you, here are 8 transformational travel mindset tips that can guide a more meaningful journey. And so, 1, travel lightly. Take just what you need and no more. You would be amazed at how little one requires to live and exist comfortably. I learned this lesson when I spent 10 months working on a show based in London, and it's shot in 5 countries. And I had everything that I needed for warm weather and cold weather in 4 bags. And even then, I had too much. Then travel slowly. Open yourself to be inspired by the magic of wherever you are. Consider what you are being mindful of in that present moment. If you are in Africa, is it the endless golden savanna of the bush, that landscape that is so expansive? Is it hearing the calls of the lions in the distance, or the earthy smell of that grass, or the dry touch of that dirt? What are the thoughts and emotions that are being stirred inside of you? Then travel unexpectantly. Every place you visit is like a surprise package waiting to be opened. Untie the strings and allow a great adventure to unfold. I think of the number of places where this has been the case for me, and none more awe-inspiring than when I was on a ship headed towards the tip of Antarctica. And I woke up one morning to see an iceberg as tall as a skyscraper and as long as a city block floating by my cabin window. That was one of the best unexpected travel gifts ever. Then travel humbly. Visit people and places with reverence and respect for their traditions and ways of life. And I know it sounds obvious, but it's always a nice reminder to have anyway. And this travel tip really touched my heart when I went to Laos. And on that trip, I was invited to a home for dinner. And after dinner, as was the 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 the, the custom, you would sit on the floor afterwards, and each family member came over and tied a white string around my wrist. And as they tied the string, they were offering a blessing. And so I had many blessings, and it just endeared me to not only that family but to the culture itself. And had I not been open to that experience, I would have missed such a beautiful, heartfelt tradition. And really, when you think about it, so much of our travel experience comes from the human connections, the people we meet, the people that we break bread with, that we spend time with. And then 5, travel gratefully. What you appreciate appreciates. Show appreciation for the many things that are being done for you, for your enjoyment, for your comfort. Again, I know it sounds obvious, but it's always worth the reminder, and just noticing how your guide's face lights up when you just say a simple thank you, and to really go with and embody the saying that if the only words you ever say in your entire life are thank you, that will be enough. And then travel with the spirit of a global citizen. So often when we travel, we learn that people are fairly similar all over. We all want to be seen, we all want to be heard, and we all want to be loved. So be the ambassador of goodwill to all people. And one of my most significant takeaways about just people and travel was to not judge a book by its cover. That person wearing flip-flops and a Bob Marley t-shirt could actually be the most respected elder in that region. And you just would never know by looking at them. It's only by connecting with them that you learn. So to show that goodwill and that openness. And with that, traveling with an open mind and being open to the world and its people. You learn so much when you are curious about other cultures. One of my favorite experiences was dancing with the Maasai, who are known for their jumping. And when I asked why they jump, I asked one of them why they jump, and his reply was, because it makes me happy. And in that moment, it made me happy, and it makes me happy now sharing the story with all of you. Then the last one, to travel with curiosity. This is also my guiding statement, as well as this eighth mindset, travel mindset reminder. It's not how far you go, it's how deep. And it's that depth that creates a colorful collage of your travel experiences. And just remembering to ask questions and try new things and be silly and be daring, and to really want to know what is over that next hill along the Camino de Santiago in Spain. What is around that corner on a cobblestone street in London? What is behind that beautifully ornately wood carved door in Marrakesh. And here again, it is not about the photos that you take and you share on social media. It is all about the pictures, the images that you create in your mind and then get stored in your heart. So then that brings me to part 3, the afterglow of the journey and your trip takeaways. Once you return home and unpack your suitcase, also take time to unpack your trip experience and reflect on your biggest takeaways. Now, how did this journey transform you? What is it motivating you to now want to shift in your daily life? These takeaways are both the key and the reward for traveling as conscious, mindful global citizens. Now, consider these reflections as a meditation and like having a meditation practice and noticing how life is different off the cushion because you have opened your lens of awareness. Notice how life is after you have unpacked your journey. What is your new lens of awareness as a result of your trip? So, now circling back to my first journey to Africa, and my big takeaways from that experience is that it taught me to travel more mindfully through an environment and to be more conscious and open to how I interacted with others who are not of my culture. It taught me to take time and to appreciate, to notice the smell of the bush grass, the sounds of animals splashing around a water hole, and the weighty feel of a camera in my hand as I took a photograph, and the taste of a good gin and tonic after a well earned day as I watched a brilliant red, yellow, and orange sunset sky. So I close with a thought from the writer Mark Twain. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did. So travel well, travel consciously, and be happy. And thank you so much for listening to this talk and spending your time with me. Thank you.